Are we live?
And we're live. All right.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? So stoked you're here. Sorry we're starting a little late. We had some technical issues. Apparently, Google has me on timeout for whatever reason and won't let me start my own Google Hangouts, so I'm going to get that all figured out. But Mindy opened up a Hangout for you guys, and we're here with Jessica from Gumroad.com. Jessica, welcome. Thank you for coming on and being here for us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, everybody else out there knows Mindy, our happiness hero. Mindy, thanks for coming on and helping get this all set up again, as always. Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody.
And
Happy to be here.
for those of you who don't know, I've been using Gumroad a lot lately. They're a company that I was kind of keeping my eye on for a long time, ever since I heard from Fizzle and also Nathan Barry that have been using Gumroad, and I was like, what's this Gumroad thing? It's this interesting name, and I discovered more about their company and how awesome it is. It's actually comparable, actually. It does similar things to what eJunkie does. I've talked about eJunkie a lot in the past, in terms of selling digital goods and distribution and that sort of thing. But it's on a completely different level as eJunkie. I've been using eJunkie for a while to sell ebooks over at greenexamacademy.com, and when I discovered Gumroad, I just couldn't wait to implement it on my own stuff, and I have been now. And I used it to sell the Smart Podcast Player. We're using it for the launch of the Food Truck book, which is launching next week as well. And so, first of all, before we get started and talk about strategies for digital selling and customer experience and that sort of thing, Jessica, just thank you to the Gumroad team. Thanks to Ryan as well for just being awesome, always being there for your distributors and everybody else who's going to be working with Gumroad. So just thank you. It's a great company, great product.
Thanks so much, Pat. That's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, Mindy, why don't you take the lead on the discussion? If anybody has any questions, of course, you can pop them in the Q&A. I'll send the link out on Twitter so you can come and participate. For everybody watching on Breakthrough Blogging, as always, thank you again so much. So, Mindy, take it away.
Yeah, so I guess where I'd love to start kind of is maybe with a description of Gumroad and what Gumroad can do for somebody who wants to sell things. We have a lot of people in our audience who they have a blog and their blog is going well. They've got a really great audience, and so now they're at the point where they're thinking like, now's the time to either sell an info product or maybe they've built something physical that they want to sell, and they're trying to figure out like, gosh, what do I do? Do I just post it and put a PayPal link up, or what do I do? So how does Gumroad fit into that process?
Yeah, definitely. So we built Gumroad to be the easiest way to sell content directly to your audience. And can you hear me okay, by the way? Just want to make sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
That's great.
Okay. So yeah, easiest way to sell content directly to your audience. The idea is that you cut out the middleman and you can sell directly where you're engaging with people. So whether that's on your own blog or your own website, via social media, wherever that is, the idea is you take your content or your physical good. We allow physical goods to be sold as well. You upload, if it's digital content, you upload that to Gumroad. You set your price, you customize your product, and then you get a link that you can share anywhere. You can embed that in your website, or you can tweet it out. You can do a Facebook post. It's just a really seamless, easy way to sell. And so facilitating that direct connection is a big thing. The other part of it is really believing in a seamless user experience for both the creator to get set up and running. It just takes minutes to set up a product. But also on the buyer side, Gumroad, we try to stay very much in the background. People check out, and it's just, we don't ask for a zip code. We don't ask for your, mother's maiden name or whatever. All these like multiple fields that you get from other payment processors. It's just your credit card information, and conversions are really high as a result. Then the final piece is also we really believe in creators owning all their customer data, and so we provide you with all this analytics about your referral traffic and who your customers are, their email addresses, give you the ability to contact them, and facilitate that sustainable long-term relationship with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Ever since using Gumroad, I've just noticed there's so much more information coming my way, but it's not overwhelming. It's not crazy. It's very easy to use and very organized. So, great job with everything that you guys have done. The buying experience is something I want to talk about. You make it really easy to buy something in terms of, like you said, cutting out a lot of the information that doesn't necessarily need to be there. I remember checking out Nathan's site, nathanbarry.com, and checking out the sales process for one of his books, and it was just easy. Click on a button, enter one or two things, and boom, you have the book already, which was really interesting. Like, what kind of things are you guys doing to optimize, that buying experience? Are you guys keeping track of stuff on your end, continually testing? Like, what helped you arrive to what Gumroad looks like today?
Definitely. So definitely a lot of testing, a lot of A/B testing. We allow one of my favorite features is that we allow you to actually optimize your payment form based on where your customers are purchasing. So if they're purchasing on a mobile device, we adjust the payment form slightly so that it's optimized for that versus if they're purchasing on a desktop. So one neat thing is that we found that conversions are actually a lot higher if people are required to enter their full name on a desktop, because they got their keyboard in front of them, they can type out their name, they don't mind, they actually feel a little bit safer doing that. But with mobile purchases increasing, people don't want to type in that extra information, they're more likely to drop off the extra fields that they have to fill in, so we leave that off. We leave that off for the mobile experience. So that's just been a lot of testing, and we're continuing to add new kind of dynamic features like that, which is really exciting. But then also a huge shout out has to go to our risk and fraud team, who just bust their butts to get to get it to be where it is, because we don't have to ask for all this other information that other companies have to, because we're doing so much work behind the scenes to ensure that that we're heading off risk and fraud from the get-go. So they do some really high-tech, neat things so that we can keep that purchase form as simple as possible. In general, our idea is the simpler the better. The less information that we can require, the better.
That's cool.
Go ahead, Manny. I was just going to say, yeah, well, both, I'm really interested just in the risk side that you work so hard to mitigate that, right? Which is something that can be maybe a little scary for somebody selling something for the first time. But then from a user standpoint, well, and a user standpoint as a buyer, but then also as a seller, it's just such a beautiful interface. It's pretty. It's fun to use. It's easy to find the links that we want.
Cool. Thank you.
I really appreciate.
Yeah, it's great. And now let's get on to some strategies that everybody watching can use in order to increase sales, increase conversions. Obviously, we're talking about Gumroad here. I think it's probably one of the best platforms out there for selling. But in addition to just the platform, what can people do? And I mean, obviously, you have a ton of people selling stuff on their site. What's working for people, and maybe what's not working for people?
Yeah, definitely. So I know you guys had Nathan Barry on recently, and I know that he's a big proponent of the launch sequence, and that's something that has just been huge for the most successful sellers on Gumroad. Definitely have a good launch sequence in place. And I actually did a case study that we're going to be coming out with next week on the guys that did the authors of the Discover Meteor book, which is a book on Meteor.js. And they did a really great job with their launch sequence, whether they knew it or not. I think to them it just sort of fell into place. But when I kind of took a deeper look at what they were doing, they had launch sequence really comes down to combining the right elements with the right timing. And so if you're looking at, you want to get that landing page up, start doing a couple blog posts, get people warmed up, making sure that you're building that anticipation, that you're not launching to a cold audience. Beyonce can get away with launching to a cold audience because she's Beyonce, but most people cannot get away with that. So kind of warming people up and getting them to know you and like you over time has been really big. And we've seen people do that through all sorts of formats. It can be setting up that landing page and an email list and kind of pushing out blog articles and really helpful information. That's a very popular format. But we've also seen people do it through webinars and podcasts, through live events and hangouts, through just kind of consistently putting out material on Instagram or YouTube. But it's all about building that relationship in advance of trying to sell something. And so that's what really leads to success, I think, especially because Gumroad isn't a marketplace. So we have to work really hard to and harder and harder to educate people on how they can build that relationship with their audience in advance of actually using Gumroad for the checkout process. And so that's been one of the biggest things. Something else that I've been kind of trying to think about how we can boil down audience building to very basic steps that someone can take. And one thing that I've noticed that most of our really successful creators have in common is that they've joined a community of some kind. So whether that's something like Fizzle or going to a conference, like we met at NMX, there's MicroConf, there's BaconBiz, there's WDS, there's all those conferences out there. Or whether that's just joining a Facebook group or a Reddit community. It's really, really helpful to have that support and encouragement and feedback and getting your name out there and building a relationship with people through some sort of community instead of just pushing stuff to people. So engaging in a little bit more of a dialogue in advance of launching is something that I think has been working really well for people.
That's cool. I think those are great tips. Relationship building is absolutely huge, and of course the launch sequence, sort of priming people, getting them ready for that launch, building buzz and anticipation is great. How about on a sales page specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Elements on a sales page that should absolutely be there, and tips to help people click on that Gumroad Buy Now button.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had a lot of, most of our creators have a lot of success with the bundling. You know, I don't know if that's exactly addressing what you're asking, but that's something that I just think everyone should be going for, is to offer different tiers of your products. So, you know, whether that's like the Nathan Barry $39 base products, you know, $159, or sorry, I think he's like $39.99 and like $249 or something.
Yeah, it was like 1x, 2x, and 5x.
Yeah, so that was actually some data that we looked at. We found the optimal rate was 1x, 2.2x, and 5x.
Good to know.
Yeah, so one is the base, and then multiplying it from there. But that is just, it's really great to engage people at all levels of, you know, their sort of relationship and enthusiasm for you. So most people are going to be more casual consumers of your work, and that's fine, and you want to provide something for them, and, you know, make them feel like there's still something for them when they come to your page. But then there's also going to be that enthusiastic core that's going to want to see your behind-the-scenes footage and all that bonus content and interviews and, you know, even T-shirts and merchandise that you might have, and so it's good to do some price segmentation on that front. In terms of landing page optimizations, I think I like the analogy of the kind of like slap yourself on the forehead sort of like oh yeah, this is exactly a problem that I've been having, and you know, they've articulated this problem so clearly that it speaks to me, and that this is a solution that I've been looking for. If it isn't something that like makes your audience, if you don't know your audience that well, that you can articulate their problem for them that clearly, then I think you got to go back and rethink your landing page copy.
Yeah, absolutely. The copy is absolutely huge, and of course, going along with that is split testing to see which copy works out best. I mean, knowing your audience should be the starting point, but split testing to get that actual data. You know, you might have a few ideas of headlines that work, or specific parts of your landing page or sales page that might work, but you won't know for sure what's best until you test the, you know, version A versus version B versus version C and so forth.
Totally. Yeah.
Minnie.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Any questions coming in, or I know this is sort of a interesting way we put this hangout together because my stuff wasn't working, so I don't know if there are any questions coming in. But
well, I've got a question about getting started in terms of audience size. And so one of the things that I think is really appealing about Gumroad is that even if you don't have a really large audience when you start selling, you are retaining, like Nathan was talking this through with us last time, like you're retaining the profit. You're not giving, you know, half of it to Amazon or whatever like that. So I'm wondering if you've found that like there's a minimum audience size that people need to have to sort of make it worth the effort, or if that really depends on the individual and sort of how they view success.
So this is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, so I'm glad you asked. So much of this stuff is practice and iteration. You know, as we were talking about A/B testing, but also getting the right elements together for a launch sequence. You know, knowing how to write your landing page copy, all that takes a lot of practice. And so something that I really encourage people to do is to start small. You know, if you're considering writing a book, put out a guide first, something that's really short, that just, you know, it's not a huge opportunity cost to write. If you're considering going with a film, why not start with a small, you know, short film or web series? Start small, get something out there, and start practicing, even if your audience is super small. And then you'll just get better and better and better, and more confident at getting stuff out there, better able to, I mean, there's also the added benefit of practicing creation, right? Not just practicing selling, but honing in on your skills, whether they be writing or you know, we serve a lot of musicians and filmmakers as well. So yeah, I don't think it's ever too early to start. I think you should just get it out there.
Plus, when you are sort of trying to build a brand and share and show authority in your space, having something up there for sale kind of immediately puts people at the position like, wow, okay, this person actually has something for sale.
Absolutely.
So it can help increase authority as well. Even if you don't have any audience, I would recommend people at least begin to create something, something of value, of course, not just for the sake of having something up there for sale, but something that if people bought, it would be useful and they could help to get to that raving fan status. But yeah, I think that's fantastic and great advice. Another thing I want to touch on is on sales pages, and I know Gumroad integrates this too. They do a really good job of integrating visuals along with the purchasing process.
Mm-hmm.
And even for information products, it's interesting. The visual aspect of an information product, even though it's just digital, it matters a lot. Do you have any thoughts on the visual aspect of what's being sold, from ebook covers to anything that goes along with what's being sold visually?
Yes, I would definitely invest in having a professional-looking image that goes along with your product. We also allow people to link to YouTube and Vimeo videos, so where it's appropriate that it can include a video cover, and that's actually been really effective, especially for if it's a course or even an album where a musician is trying to build a really personal relationship with their fans. It's just so awesome to have them come on, even if it's just like an informal setting, give a little introduction to what they can expect, thank fans for viewing and considering buying. But that's, the visual element is definitely important. In terms of images, we see a lot of success with book covers that actually look like books, that look very professionally designed, that just boost that confidence in the buyer. Because that all goes down with the first impression that they have of your work, and you want it to be the best and most professional.
Mm-hmm. When the video thing is very interesting. Not a lot of people, at least during the checkout process, have videos.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of reminds me of Kickstarter. Most of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns show videos, and even though that's not necessarily in the checkout process, it's a very integral part of what they're doing, and people see that, they connect with the story, or they see what they're going to get before they get it.
Absolutely.
And then they click pledge or whatever. But you're saying, and I didn't even know this was possible, Gumroad, when you click the buy now button, there could actually be a video right there.
Yeah. Instead of an image, there can be you can link to a YouTube or Vimeo video.
Whoa, that's really cool. And what about like on the thank you page? Can I put a video on the thank you page? Or
No, not in the receipt text, not in the confirmation just yet.
Okay.
But that is, I know that's something that your team has asked about, and I think it would be really, really cool to have. So that's something that we're working on.
I mean, because we're really big on the customer experience, especially for this new product that we have, Smart Podcast Player, and also for Food Trucker Book and everything we're doing, of course. But we're really we really feel that the customer experience is sometimes even more important than the product itself. Like, I don't know if that's weird to say, but I know, for example, hotels get better ratings when something goes wrong, mm-hmm. and they come back and do something nice, as a result of
when they fix a problem.
When they fix the problems,
customer satisfaction goes up.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And I'm not saying you should try to make something break on purpose so that you can look better, but just I'm talking about the experience that people have, and I think including video and having it become very personal is always something you should do, but I've never seen that during a checkout process, and I think that's really awesome, especially, and I'm just kind of brainstorming here, imagine a video, if somebody's going to get a product, whether it's physical or online, shows them what that product's going to look like and what's inside really quick, but then there's also that could be B-roll, and then there could be some audio coming in from somebody who has used the product, and testimonials and stuff like that. Because I know on traditional sales pages or traditional checkout processes, things like having testimonials on them, having like the whole verified, Better Business Association buttons on there. Those all increase sales. So I'm just trying to think of things like that. But including all those things in a video could be a great, clean, sort of forward-thinking solution.
Absolutely, yeah. And the example of movies, like, they have it down pat when it comes to this, right? The trailer has all those elements of the social proof, if they, whatever review they've gotten, and stars from this, or Academy Awards or whatever they've gotten. And so thinking about your product cover as a trailer, I think is a really neat way to approach it.
That's cool. And when you said the movie business, I'm thinking of Paranormal. I think, Paranormal Activity. Their trailers or their commercials were actually live video, not live, but video of their
of the
audiences
reactions.
reacting to like the scary parts in the movie.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I think that was really smart, and maybe there's a way we could borrow from that, not like put scary moments in our products, but I mean like, you know, showing people use it, perhaps especially if it's a physical product. I mean, like if you have a doohickey and someone's like, wow, this is really cool, like that would be really cool to have in your video, and that could easily break down, because especially online, you know, people are still sort of weary about putting their credit card information and all those personal details, but those types of things can help make people feel more secure about what they're going to get.
Definitely.
So, Pat, are we about to make a trailer for the Smart Podcast Player?
We totally should. We totally should.
I love it. I love it. I'm wondering if you could talk. So, talking about the Smart Podcast Player, that's really fun, because not only can we sell like an item that you can upload, so then when people check out, then the last step is they click the download button after they've purchased and they get all their materials. But with the player now you can do licenses, right? Because that's really important, that with software everybody gets an individual license.
Yes.
And this is new, right? Like, I don't know if we're the first ones to do that, but I know we're one of the first ones to do it. And so I know you guys are learning from that process as well. But sort of, you know, along those lines, and it's great to bring that up, Mindy, thank you. What are some other things that people who have products to sell in all different ways and forms and formats can look forward to from Gumroad? Like, what's ahead for us from Gumroad and, you know, our ability to sell all the awesome stuff we have?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that what our hope is, and I just wanted to throw a little plug in here, because yes, you guys were one of the first to try out the license feature, and it was, yeah, it's totally awesome. And yeah, it was really great to go through that experience with you. But we also since then have had Duet app, Hemingway app just came out recently, which is really cool tool for writers. It kind of allows you to write like Hemingway, and so that's a pretty neat thing. But in terms of what's kind of coming up for Gumroad, we sort of see our where we contribute is at this one point in the checkout process currently, and then a little bit down the creation timeline towards, you know, interaction with customers. So we allow you to you know, handle all the kind of like miscellaneous stuff after a sale, whether that be you know, shipping out the product or handling a refund or issuing an invoice. And then we also allow you to send updates and kind of promotional stuff down the line. But I think what we'd like to do is start building more and more features towards the beginning of that timeline. So actually helping creators build their audience. And so we're working on a lot of things around that I'm really excited about. Haven't kind of gotten into specifics yet, but another thing that we're really excited about is an iOS app that we're coming out with soon. So that's going to be awesome, and just really working on the buyer side of things to improve the consumption experience, because we just want that whole experience from purchasing to consumption to be absolutely seamless. Some cool things that we came out with recently. So we had a streaming feature for film. So not only could you download a film and watch it wherever you want, you could stream it right within your browser.
Oh, that's cool.
But then we thought, how can we extend this to not just film, but the other types of content that we have? So how can we extend this to music? Well, you can listen to music right away, or listen to a podcast right away without actually having to download the file. So right in your receipt, right in your browser, you just click listen, and everything starts playing. And then we're like, okay, so what does this mean for visual stuff, for comics, and for books? How can we extend this even further? And so just last week we launched this read feature where you can essentially just click a button and start reading right in your browser. So kind of moving towards more and more native consumption experiences, where on the buyer side it's like before you know it, you're reading and consuming the content, and it's just, you know, the most seamless thing, most frictionless thing you can possibly have. And I think that's only going to be helped with the app, and everything's sort of gearing up to that, and facilitating more mobile purchases as well.
Yeah, so it's a Gumroad app. Like, what is the app exactly, and how does it affect a buyer's experience and a seller's experience?
Yeah, so down the line, we definitely like to have a seller-focused app that will allow you to monitor your purchases and, you know, maybe do some more functionality within there. But this is going to be buyer side.
Okay.
And so right now we allow buyers to have a library, which is a collection of all their purchases on Gumroad. And so they'll be able to really easily from this app add purchases to their library. So it's all contained within this Gumroad app, and basically scroll through and listen to or watch or read whatever type of content they've bought from their people that they're following.
It's really nice from the software side when people lose their license key. We can just send them to their library, and there's their license key again.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
That's awesome. I really like what you said about sort of educating everybody who's using your product to better, have just a better experience with it and get better results with it. I think anybody who's selling anything, especially, in terms of software, because software, a lot of people, they just sell the software and that's it. Like, go buy, that's it. Like, they don't tell them everything that should happen before they use it, or even anything that happens after.
Right.
So I think that's really cool that you're doing that. I think everybody can learn from that. I mean, that's why everybody's talking about you guys. That's why everybody's starting to use Gumroad, because you care about the people who use your product, and you're actually helping them do other things that don't necessarily directly translate to more sales for you guys or more users exactly, but it does increase your authority level. But also, more than that, just shows that you care about those who are actually using your product. So I think everybody can learn from that. What other ways can you help your audience besides just the way that the products you're selling or the information products you have? It sort of reminds me of Derek Halpern from Social Triggers. I don't know if you met him. If you met him, you will never forget him. So he has something called the bonus sandwich. So he says this thing like, if you sell a product, like, give away everything that needs to happen before a person can use that product, like as your bonus, or just give it away for free. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're selling WordPress themes, in order for a person to use WordPress theme, they're going to have to learn how to use WordPress instead of a blog. So give all that information away for free, or include that as a bonus, because then they would be qualified to buy your product. And they would probably, if that experience was good, they would go ahead and use your product because you were the one that helped them for free in the first place. You provided value, and now people are going to look for a way to pay you back. And if you give them that opportunity, they're going to do it. And so, hopefully that makes sense for everybody out there. How can you get people educated about what it is that you're teaching? And it's hard because we have the curse of knowledge, and it's hard to put ourselves in the shoes of people who aren't in our shoes. So, I just wanted to mention that. And I also know that you guys have an option to set your pricing as a pay what you want. Yeah. Is that true?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Has anybody used that yet? Because I've been consulting with a lot of people and telling them about, different options for pricing and things like that and selling. And, a lot of times it almost makes sense to do a price what you want or a pay what you want model. I know a few people in the fitness industry who are doing that very, very well. Sort of turning that industry on its head. And I'm curious if you have any data on that in terms of like how to set that up, but what's working. I know, for instance, the guys over at Hybrid Athletics, they do it, and they like I don't believe they use Gumroad, but in the payment processor you click the buy now, or that you click the get it button, or whatever the name of the button is, and then it says like suggested donation or free, like it defaults on the suggested price, like pay what you want, this is the suggested price, or the average price even. Like some of them, I know some payment processors, I don't know which ones, but I heard about this earlier, it will calculate the average that people are donating, and actually it'll change that.
It'll like dynamically update.
Yeah, which is really cool. But then there's the option to go $0, right? Which is where the benefit of that is like, hey, like I'm giving this to you, and you can pay for it if you want, but you see, I'm not being slimy. You can get it for free if you can't afford it, and you can pay me what you want later. I mean, do you have any data on that? Is anybody really using that on your end?
Yeah, so it's interesting to use the Hybrid Athlete as an example. That's really cool. We did a seller story with Tom Morks, who wrote this, The Complete Guide to Pay What You Want Pricing, and he did a really, really intricate guest post.
Who was that?
Tom Morks. Morkes.
Okay. Awesome.
And his book was, the Complete Guide to Play What You Want Pricing, but he put some of the best content from his book in a guest post for a blog, which is really awesome. And he uses I think it was the Hybrid Athlete that initially inspired him to do Pay What You Want Pricing in the first place, because of their incredible success. So he's experienced a ton of success using Pay What You Want on Gumroad, thousands and thousands of dollars that people just willingly give because it's really valuable information. And I've seen this work really well for all sorts of creators. So I've seen people use it for price testing. If they come out with sort of a draft of a product, or it's something that's not quite ready, or maybe they're just sort of testing out and not sure if people are willing to pay money for this, they put that out there and kind of see. It's like, hey, it's pay what you want. Like, let me know if you're just feel free to donate whatever. I know that there's sort of two schools of thought on that, because some people think that you should charge right away and convey value through that, setting a price point for your product. So it'll be kind of interesting to see once we have a little bit more data on this and do a more in-depth study. I've also seen people use it for kind of like smaller products in a larger product suite. So if they have higher price stuff that they want to kind of warm people up towards, it's like, hey, try out this this set for it's $0+, and they actually end up making hundreds of dollars off of it, just sort of as a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
When they could have just given it away, and they essentially are, but it's cool to see that validation that people are paying for it and actually make some money off of it. So yeah.
I know a few people using this model who, it's really interesting. They get a wide range of sort of payments, right? From $5 to like thousands of dollars. Like, there'll be that one person who's just like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Thank you so much. Here's like $1,000.
Right.
And it's crazy how that happens. But if you imagine that person who paid $1,000, if you were charging $97, they would have bought it for $97. There would be no other opportunity to pay you more.
Right.
It's really, really interesting, and I would love to just, perhaps get in touch with you later once some more data comes in. I'm really, really excited and potentially going to explore that option.
Yeah.
In the future.
Nice.
So that'd be cool. Mindy, did any questions come in, or did we totally screw up our Google Hangout today?
I think we do have some people
great.
watching, so that's awesome. We haven't gotten any questions in. I think we successfully.
Yeah, that's okay. But we've covered a lot of stuff actually, and really useful information.
We post this in the library, and so everybody will be able to watch it then. I'm really interested. I'm digging into the blog a little bit as you're talking, because you mentioned like the Tom Works post and stuff. So I'm looking at just like some of the data that you have here in terms of like pricing and the difference that you've got an awesome chart here on the difference that a single cent makes in terms of going with, say, like $5.99 versus $6 and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so, because your team isn't super big, right? I'm interested in like who gets the fun job of sort of breaking down all the data.
Yeah. So we have an incredibly prolific data team that gets to look at that stuff. They also happen to do our risk and fraud too, so it's good that they're good with data.
I love numbers, yay!
Yeah. So stay tuned actually we hope to do a follow-up post. That was a really popular post, but most of the numbers were for cheaper products, and so we hope to do that for more expensive products. But we do know that 39 sells better than 40, 29 sells better than 30. Just as a perception thing, it was really interesting to see how strong that was though on the lower end when you compare $1.99 to $2 and
yeah, 5.2% conversion for $1.99, 2.39% conversion for $2.
Yeah,
Fun
stuff.
And the blog can be found where?
Blog.gumroad.com.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a mix of tips and tricks and in-depth seller stories and feature updates.
Love it.
It's a really fun balance between numbers and stories.
I like the selling trends category. That's very exciting to me. Everything is cool, but awesome. So we're already at the hour. We only have a couple more minutes left, but we've covered a lot of stuff, and I don't know about you, for everybody watching out there, but I'm really excited about selling even more digital products down the road and doing it in a smart way. And check out Gumroad.com. It's awesome. And Mindy, any final questions, final words to say?
Just what's the best way for people to get started if they think like, okay, I'm ready to get started with Gumroad? Where should they go?
Yeah, head over to Gumroad.com and click Get Started for free. It's a button right at the top. You just need to plug in your email address and password to get started, and you'll get a nice welcome email from me when you sign up. But I'd also like to extend an invitation to all of your watchers to email me personally. I'm Jessica@Gumroad.com, because my job is to help our sellers be successful and to earn more, and so I'd like to help with that in any way that I can.
Thank you, Jessica.
Awesome.
And you know, the team here at SPI is always here for you too. If you need anything from us, we're here for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent. And anybody who's got any questions, they can email us at support@breakthroughblogging.com.
Perfect. And I was going to say, I like the background behind you. Where are you in your office, or is that your house?
Yes, yes. And I hope that the last little while hasn't been too noisy because people were playing ping pong. And but...
All right, I'm going to go to your offices and we'll have a ping pong tournament.
Nice. Awesome. Definitely should.
Cool. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much. Again, gumroad.com. Check it out. And Jessica@gumroad.com if you want to email her. Mindy, thank you again for helping get this particular Hangout set up and all the troubleshooting. And thank you to everybody out there who's watching this live or also in the future. You guys rock. We'll see you on the blog and on the podcast. And you know, keep providing value and keep reaping the rewards.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.